And next we'll move on with Sam with the Florida Philanthropic Network.
Thank you, Devin. And hello, everyone. I'm Sam, and over the past couple of weeks, I've had the opportunity to work with Anwar and Shanmukh on the Florida Philanthropic Project Network. So, the United States Census Bureau conducts surveys every couple years to estimate information about people who live in the United States. And the reason why these surveys are important is because the federal government uses this information to allocate funds and develop policy. So for example, in 2021, the federal government allocated $2.8 trillion based on the Census Bureau's data. And one particularly important survey that the Census Bureau conducts is the decennial census. And so as you might be able to tell, the decennial census occurs every 10 years. Additionally, the purpose of it is to estimate the population and the demographics of the people who live in the United States. And this survey is really important because the federal government uses it to allocate a large amount of funding to states. Additionally, it's uniquely important because the federal government uses this data to assign House of Representative seats to each state. And now you might be wondering, how could the census possibly count every single person in the United States? Well, they don't, and instead they rely on estimates. But sometimes these estimates can be inaccurate. And particularly, we care about those estimates when they're underestimating the population, and we call that an undercount. So in the 2020 decennial census, Florida was undercounted by 750,000 residents. And now you might wonder, well, who cares? You all should, because this undercount has led to a projected $11 to $21 billion in loss of federal funding in the next decade. And one great organization that has been working to improve this undercount is the Florida Philanthropic Network. And as a general goal, the Florida Philanthropic Network works to expand Florida's philanthropy by guiding and aiding nonprofits. But they also have a particular interest in the undercount. And with the undercount, they work to increase awareness of the census and therefore improve that undercount by the 2030 decennial census. And we've actually had the great opportunity to work with the Florida Philanthropic Network in the past. So in the 2023 Florida Data Science for Social Good project, the main goal was to estimate the undercount for each Florida county. So if you divert your attention to this map, you can see that the counties in a darker red were counties that were more severely undercounted. And so you can see that some of these counties are in the Panhandle, some are in Central Florida, and some are in South Florida. And from this information, the Florida Philanthropic Network was able to create a list of priority counties to campaign in, and additionally, they were able to make sure that they had a well-funded nonprofit organization in some of those highly undercounted counties. And with that, I'm going to invite Anwar onto the stage to talk about our current goal projects.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Sam. So what we have seen, last year interns came up with some really impactful results at county level, but we think there are more to dive into this wicked problem to look more closely what's actually going on. So this year, the goal of this project was to identify all the risk factors related to undercount at zip code level. Then building visuals for nonprofits to help them understand all the relevant risk factors that are affecting more to any particular zip code and taking the actions accordingly. And making this project more impactful by reducing undercount percentage in 2030 census. So US Census Bureau has listed some hard-to-count risk factors and historically undercounting risk factors. Hard-to-count is when our traditional method of counting doesn't help much to include all the people in census. For example, non-English speakers. They're hard to count because language barrier always makes it difficult to interview people or get them to participate in any online survey. Historically undercounted people are those who are getting undercounted over the past censuses as well. For example, renters with higher mobility rate. Maybe they are changing their locations more often because of switching jobs or any business purposes. So, bringing all those risk factors in hand and analyze this problem further, we have taken top five undercounted counties from 2023 FN project, along with 7 more neighboring counties. Worth mentioning here is that Polk County is one of those neighboring counties, and it has the highest rate of migration in the entire United States. So, based on those 12 counties, consisting of total 469 zip codes, we got 4 core-based statistical areas forming in Lakeland, Orlando, Miami, and Tampa, where there are more than 13 million people are living in those 4 core-based statistical areas, with more than 500,000 people being undercounted in 2020 census. So, getting fixed with the areas we'll be working on, we started looking for our data sources. We used US Census Bureau for demographic, social, and economic data, like race and ethnicity, housing tenure, occupation, internet accessibility, and so on. We collected library resources and their location data from Career One Stop, because it is important to know if anyone doesn't have internet at their home, they need to go to the nearest public libraries to participate in any online service. Then we used Forefront as a data source, as a source of our population density, because we needed to know how the population is distributed over the region we are working on. Then Ookla internet speed test really helped us to identify all those zip codes with lower internet connections, because it is very crucial for any online survey, as like 2020 census campaign that was fully online. Lastly, Florida Division of Elections gave us voter registration and participation data, offering a glimpse into civic engagement across different communities. So while collecting the data and processing the data further, we also faced some challenges. Like, we had to identify conceptual grouping of different dimensional variables, and we went through too many modules to collect the relevant data sources. Then we had to take care of some overlapping zip codes over some counties, while taking care of standard PO box zip code and unique zip codes separately. Dimension reduction was another big challenge for us. We had to run spearmint correlation over 100 variables, leading to a couple of hundreds correlation to reduce the dimension before going for our final analysis. So at this moment, I would like to invite Shanmukh to talk about our final analysis. Thank you.
Thank you, Anwar, for inviting me. So after the dimensionality reduction, we have grouped our factors into 3 key dimensions. The first one is personal dimension. It includes the demographic factors like age, race, and education, which tells us these personal factors contribute to underrepresentation. The next one is geographic dimension. It includes the housing-related factors like rent burden and non-traditional housing. This dimension helps us to understand where these housing-related factors are located in and how likely they are to be undercounted. And the last one is digital divide. In today's digital age, access to technology and internet is very crucial for census participation. This dimension helps us to highlight the gaps where certain population cannot participate in census with no internet access. But in order to focus on an issue, the non-profits needs to know where their efforts are most needed. So now let's move on to our dashboards to see where these zip codes are located. As we can see, the top buttons, those are the 3 different dimensions. In the left side, we can see the Florida map displayed, and those colors represent the zip codes that we selected from 12 counties. The purple color, the darker the purple color is, higher the percentage of the variable, and the darker the gray color is, lower the percentage of the variable. Beside the map, we can see the list of zip codes. It is ordered in the descending order. The top zip code has highest percentage and the bottom zip code has lowest percentage. In the right side, we can see the list of filters. These are used for interactions of this dashboard. Now let's imagine if a non-profit is focused on bridging the digital divide. So now we can go on to digital divide and select the variable of no internet access from the variable filter. Now we can see some of the zip codes are popping out. These are the zip codes which doesn't have internet access. Let's say if a non-profit is interested in Miami area, we can go on and select the Miami area from the filters. Yes, these are the zip codes with no internet access in Miami area. So non-profits can go on to these zip codes and improve the internet access in these areas. But these zip codes may also contain other similar factors. To know the similar factors for a set of zip codes, we have did the K-means cluster analysis. This is the cluster analysis dashboard. We have 6 clusters. As we can see, the top 6 buttons are the different clusters. For example, young families with children less than 5. This is one of the cluster. But for now, we are going to see challenged families cluster. In the map, we can see some of the zip codes are highlighted. The green color zip codes are Orlando area, and the red color zip codes are Tampa area, and the blue color zip codes are Lakeland area, and the orange zip codes are for Miami area. In the right side, we can see the bar graph. Those have some variables related to this set of zip codes. And those numbers are, it is a percentage of these factors for this set of zip codes. Now let's say if a non-profit is interested in Tampa area, we can go on and select one particular zip code in Tampa area. This bar graph is specifically for that particular zip code. Here we can see that this zip code is high in no health insurance, poverty, and high in no vehicles available, but it has low in public transport usage. So what non-profits can do is they can go on to this zip code and they can provide some vouchers to increase the public transport usage and offer free clinics to remove the lack of health insurance. As we see in our results, let's move on to our recommendations. After analyzing the different variables, we have seen that no health insurance, poverty, and no internet access is highly affecting this Miami area. Even the urban zip codes doesn't have internet access in Miami area. And the next one is Lakeland area. In this, non-traditional housing and no internet access is highly influencing. People living in mobile homes and RVs, they often tend to move from one place to another place. These population are high likely to be undercounted. And for the next one, Orlando area. This has age under 5 years and age 65 and over. For the age under 5 years, Census has listed as hard to count and historically undercounted. And the last one is Tampa area. Unemployment is highly influencing in this Tampa area. So now we have all this information. So we recommend FPN to connect with local non-profits and work on these issues so they can overcome the undercounting issue by 2030 census for better Florida. Thank you.